Oh. Hello, everyone. Welcome to BowTieSecurityGuy After Dark. Episode, I don't know, 23 or something. My guest today is Raf. How do you say your last name so I don't jack it up?
Yeah, it's a difficult one. It's Raf Tomaszewski.
Yeah,
But
I would have definitely. I mean, look, I've got a German last name, so I understand the pain. So I try not to dork people's names up. I invited you on because I just like your style. I like your honesty, your transparency. Um, and I felt like we would jive. There's really no other reason except as a cyber professional, I think this career is kind of a weird one. So I created this podcast to kind of educate new people of what the job is actually like. But let's kind of start with why you even got into technology. Like, how did it start for you when you were younger?
um, thank you for having me. And
Of course.
yeah, it's I've always been kind of into computers since I was a kid. Um, I guess the cyber aspect started. It's when I was like 9 or 10 years old. I got the book for Christmas from my uncle about Kevin Mitnick. And obviously, back then, it was just something that was like magic to me. It was just like out of my reach. It was a complete, strange, interesting world. And and everyone was telling me, like, everyone was like expecting me to be an IT person, and I was like kind of a rebel all my life. So that kind of I was like choosing different paths, trying different things along the way. And then eventually, many years later, I kind of get back to it, started studying in the evenings, weekend studies after work. And it kind of all came back. And immediately, and I was studying programming at the time, immediately get interested in cyber and just I was listening to Darknet Diaries like couple episodes a day and
I love that. I love that podcast.
yeah, get completely captured by this world, and ever since I just didn't stop at all.
Dark Knight Diaries is great, but it's also like in your career, you'll probably experience maybe 20 or 30 of those. Like, a lot of our job is just repetitive things in nature. I did incident response for a long time. Incident response is cool because you just literally never know what's going to happen. And then I did social engineering. What field of cyber did you originally kind of that piqued your interest? Like what area within cyber technology were you like, oh, this is me. This kind of fits what I like to do.
So I like the mystery, the puzzle, the complexity. It's like feels like you can spend your whole life learning it and you'll never accomplish, all of
Yeah.
it. It's impossible, especially with everything daily. There are new things daily, constantly.
Yep.
Mm, I got like interest. Everyone thinks like, red teaming is the most exciting part, which is it is in a sense that you're learning so much about how it works.
Yeah.
But so I was doing a lot of like try hack me stuff and things like that, and just like it was such a cool experience to be able to like, hey, I broke into the system. I actually did it, and I was like very rewarding feeling, very exciting. But at the end of the day, when I get a better understanding, I did I did realize that first of all, people do not realize how much, like you said, it's like very much routine, and it's reporting side of it, especially in red teaming, put me so much.
So much paperwork. So
That,
much paperwork.
yeah, that's why I knew red teaming is not going to be for me because I hate writing reports. It just, I mean, I understand you have to do it, you have to communicate well.
Of course.
It's important, but red teaming seems to be all about reporting. If you think about it, if you looked into it and talked to people who actually do it. So eventually, the career path of mine in IT was like I was in service desk, then major incidents and escalations, and then I moved to the SOC. Um, and I really embraced that part of it, which having some understanding of how attacks being performed, it's
Yeah.
very helpful, very important. So it's not like you suddenly just going to be, sysadmin and just it's not as boring as people think, It's not about controls all the time. It's
I always say that like working at a SOC, your job is to prove why it's not a hacker.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
your job is not to prove that it's a hacker because 99% of the time it's not. It's like somebody doing something foolish or a rule that's kind of broken. How long was it that you worked at a SOC before you saw your first real incident? Like how, for me, it was almost 9 months before I saw my first, before I investigated my first alert. Then I was like, hang on, this might actually be something. I still remember how excited I got. How long were you at the SOC before you had your first like alert that was actually not a false positive?
so I don't really remember, to be fair. I'm not I'm still quite young because I mean not I'm 36, but in the SOC I'm young.
Right.
But mm, it's hard to tell. I cannot pin the moment, but I don't think we had any on the systems I look after, because our company has it done really well when you have like, so I work on 24/7 SOC. I get just two environments to look after. So now I know them inside out.
Yeah.
And so obviously I cannot disclose too much. I'm not
No,
really sure.
no.
Probably should. Um, but I don't think we ever had anything successful. We had an attempt. We had
Yeah.
maybe some like, tiny malware. Oh, yeah, yeah, that would be,
Eh,
yeah. But that was very quickly isolated. So it was
right.
really quick pinned down.
And I think that's the point, right? It's like you're going to look at thousands of alerts and you're going to
Yeah.
find very few instances of actual issues. And if you have a system that's on the internet at all, you're going to be attacked constantly, right? Like it doesn't matter. Um, the
Yeah,
second you put a vulnerable system out there, how did you get that first break into cyber? I know a lot of people are kind of struggling to get into cyber. I see you really active on LinkedIn. Did that play anything into like you getting an opportunity, or did it really come back down to just the basics that I tell everyone is like relationships? You just got to meet people and kind of,
So something I really love about this industry, well, community, people call it.
yep,
Industry is a different thing, really. It's community that is really welcoming, very live, very,
yep,
vibrant. And I was shocked, like, I don't want to drop names, but I was able to talk to many fantastic people from like literally, one day they're speaking in front of the Congress, and the next day they're like messaging me on Twitter, and
yeah.
it's like, whoa, that was like so crazy. I cannot imagine like me messaging in any other industry, like messaging an actor or messaging some top director. They don't care. They don't care at all. But
I totally agree with that. People are always kind of like so floored that I'm willing to make time. Like we all started somewhere, right? I've been doing this for 20 plus years. Um, so you connected with people, right? You met with people, you reached out to people. Did you reach out and kind of ask for mentorship or did you ask for advice? Like what was that process like?
So once I've realized you can talk to people, I was talking to many different people just because I
Yeah.
can, and obviously not trying to bombard them with with my
No.
knowledge, but every little piece of advice or just simple encouragement, I always appreciate it. So that kind of made me a little bit outgoing in that sense, and realize there is an opportunity, in this area to to make connections, to maybe even catch opportunity. And I remember, so it's actually a funny story how I got to that security company. I've seen a post on Twitter by Eliza about like she was like hustling, like she was learning, and like when she was like the opportunity to like when you cannot get a job, you volunteer, or just to get experience, just to be
Yep.
more out there. And I had a good job at the time, but not in cyber. I wanted to move in cyber. And I literally asked her, like, could I like volunteer over weekends to get some experience? And she's like, what do you do? What's your experience? Blah, blah, blah. And she's like, no, you're not in a position to volunteer. You should be employed. And then I got an interview.
Oh,
So
that's awesome.
that's,
Well,
yeah, that's crazy.
that's the point. But I think your history at the help desk, that those skills, and I tell a lot of people, I'm like, get into a tech field of any kind because
Yeah,
it's going to teach you the core fundamentals of research, the ability to the KISS method, right? Keep it stupid simple. Like, don't try to overcomplicate it. If it's not responding to something, is it on? Right? Just looking at the basics.
yeah.
Um, I think so that's awesome. And I love that, right? Because that's what this field's all about. The problem is there's just not a lot of it, right? Like those stories are few and far between, and there's only one or two roles, and it's so hard sometimes. What's
Yeah.
advice that you give to some of these kids who are graduating, thinking that they're going to walk into a job making six figures, and then they get the reality that the market just no longer supports that? Like, what's some advice that you give to those people, like who are just starting?
Well, first of all, I would like, I don't know, I have like a, I guess, specific strong work ethic and my own perspective on life. So maybe, I don't know that everyone feels other people might not feel that way, but I would say don't be too proud to, to start at a lower position, don't expect to just jump in and make six figures straight away. And
Yep,
other thing is like you're gonna like so many people in industry are praising service desk because you learn everything in there. You learn the pace, the human side, the systems, how they break. So there's so much experience on service desk, and if you're gonna learn quickly, you're gonna show up, you're gonna do a good job, and most environments you're gonna progress very quickly. People gonna notice it. If
yep,
you're willing to learn, just people often other thing. I guess if you're coming from uni, you're kind of used to this learning pace. But
yep.
it's be aware, keep in mind it doesn't stop. It never stops. So don't expect to just get a role 9 to 5, clock in, clock
Yeah,
out.
and that's the job, right? And it doesn't matter what role you have in cyber. 9 to 5 is not something that's real. Like even at my level, I was up. I mean, I messaged you at what, 2 o'clock in the morning my time because I was just wrapping up a situation that I was working on.
Oh, really?
So it's like it never stops, right? Like, and that's part of the job. And I try to tell people like can your life actually support this career? Because
Yeah.
one, you got to have a really,
Mm.
really understanding wife or spouse or boyfriend or husband, like because there's going to be a lot of times where you're working on a trash can or you're working late nights because you lost complete time. How many times have you investigated an alert and you're like hours into it and you forgot to eat? It's like, oh, I
Yeah,
should have
like,
eaten.
and also it's just like the work itself is not going to be enough. I would say that would be I think that's the most valuable anyone can, most valuable things they can do for themselves, and is run your own projects, set up your own server infrastructure,
Yes.
write some scripts, just fool around, just don't have to be big, or you're going to do one small step, then the next follows and the next follows. And
Yep.
before you realize, you get suddenly a whole lab, set up. And
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, t tinker, play, and break stuff, right?
yeah,
Everything I've learned is through failure. My greatest teacher in life is failure.
yeah,
You saw my post kind of last night where I'm working on my 3DS trying to bypass the protections and it's crashing and do it. All of those things teach me fundamental skills on how to bypass protections, how to utilize different things,
yeah,
how to troubleshoot. That key thing, how to troubleshoot, is a skill that they simply do not teach in uni. They don't teach it at college in the United States. People are coming out with a lot of book knowledge, but when you ask them basic troubleshooting questions, they're simply not able to. One of the questions that I was asked in a Google interview was, build me a server in Alaska and tell me what things you can take advantage of and how you can do different things. And I was like, oh, all right. Like, so I was like, I was like, do I even need cooling? Can I just open the windows?
Open
You
door,
know,
no, that's it.
yeah, yeah. So like, being able to think like that and kind of logically chain things together, I think is one of the most important skills. Looking at your career kind of and where you're going now, like what motivates you to kind of continue to do the job? Like yeah, I think all of us have an internal motivator. For me, I love educating and protecting like the companies that I work for, to a point of it's like a sickness almost, where like I take a lot of pride in that. What about you? What motivates you to kind of stay in this kind of wacky field that we're in, especially with all the attrition and all the layoffs and things? Like it's not a stable field anymore. It's like it's crazy.
Yeah, no, I would say I'm naturally kind of like an obsessive person.
Hmm.
So when I found cyber, I was like really excited because it's like endless. I can always keep growing and growing and growing, and there'll be never end to it. There's no end game. So like, I don't need a reason. I need a reason to take a step away from the computer. So that's why I kind of
Yes.
moved away to a remote village. I like try to do some manual labor. I, my issue is to find all the things that work because I'm so
Yes.
invested. I love working. I to the point when I sometimes like push myself too hard, and then it if you think you're gonna do more, if you're gonna work more, but it's not always the case. You need to kind of change the things you do, like work on your work, obviously, but do some lab, then maybe play with some RetroPie for a change,
Yeah.
and don't forget to get out. Do
Oh,
something.
I tell my team all the time. They're like, "Oh, hey," I'm like, "Do you have anything for a 101?" They're like, "No." I said, "Go touch grass. Like, go outside, touch some grass." I do it every day. I go out and I literally touch the grass and I touch the ground and I feel the soil and I sit and kind of in the sun and just be
Yeah,
connected with the world type scenario as opposed to being in front of this digital display and constantly being engaged in technology. I'm like you, I'm a maker, right? I love building stuff. I love riding, motorcycles and electric bikes and all that stuff. Just getting out is so important because it's so easy to lose your mental health in this job
yes,
and
yes.
not realize that you've lost it.
Yeah, yeah, and that's like a little bit of rest is going to make you so much more productive anyway. If you're like so much
Yep.
so dead on progressing and learning and doing the work, do realize that sometimes narrowing that time frame spent at the desk is gonna
Yeah.
make you more productive. You're gonna do more. Do sometimes less is more,
It,
and you
it,
need
it
to be
is.
healthy.
I always tell my teams if I'm working you 100%, I'm failing
Mm-hmm.
because we can't function at 100% consistently. You need your team rested. You
Yeah.
need your team willing to adapt. Like I had a pen tester, like we had a pen test that came in kind of last minute. We had to get done. He's on the clock already at noon, and I'm like, hey, I need you to go home and I need you to get back on at 3 o'clock in the morning because we have to do this pen test, right?
Sure.
That's But if I didn't give him constant rest, if I didn't give them the ability to kind of, take a chill and kind of breather, and then didn't give them that flexibility in their life, they wouldn't be doing that. Or they would do it and they'd be so burned out they'd make mistakes, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's
And
the problem. Because it's
yeah,
so easy to make a mistake. So you need to be focused. You need to be like on the game. Cannot
yeah,
be slacking and just like going through the motions without any thought behind it. So
yeah.
that's
It's I think that's so important is taking time in just your everyday to just e- exist in somewhere outside of technology.
yeah, yeah.
Like
I
people are
was,
always amazed that I don't spend all my day on social media. They're like, "Oh, you're online all the time." And it's like, "No, I'm not." I schedule posts. I pop in for maybe 10, 15, 20 minutes a day to check in on people, and then I bounce. Cause like for me, my personality, social media is death. Cause like I will fall into that and I will be there for hours and not realize it because I'm getting that constant dopamine hit. I feel
Yeah.
like I feel like this job really caters to people with ADHD.
Yeah.
Um, because your job is literally to squirrel, right? It's like, ooh, what's that new thing? Ooh, what's that new thing?
Yeah.
Um,
That's true. That's one of the reasons why I've removed all social media from my phone because I'm
yep.
like, it just there's sometimes I would go out, around the nature. It's a beautiful scenery. I
You're
went there to
sitting on
rest.
your phone. Yep.
I'm on my phone reading some terrible news. I'm like, what am I doing? What am I doing?
Yes. Yeah, I've removed everything except LinkedIn and then I only check that sparingly. Just because I think that's true. When I got laid off, I didn't really know what to do and I dove headfirst into social media, but I got a really bad social media addiction when that happened. To a point where when I got a new job, like I was still spending hours a day on social and I had to break that habit.
Yeah.
Um, so it's funny because we're both like, hey, you need to engage with people, you need to connect with people, and then we're also like, don't do that. Like so it's a
Yeah, there's
balance. It's a
there's a
balance.
lot of contradictions, I think, in this industry. Like literally, on one hand, you say like you have to keep learning, you have to keep learning and work hard, and then but don't work too hard.
Yeah.
There is a balance to it, I guess, and it's a tricky one.
Yeah, and it's one you have to really set boundaries for yourself. Like
Mhm,
you've set boundaries by removing social.
mhm.
I've set boundaries by setting cutoff times. Like, hey, I'm done working for today.
That's good.
I don't care if there's things that are left.
Yeah,
They can wait.
yeah,
Um, I think that's a really important thing is set those boundaries early and then make sure that your boss is also aware of what those boundaries are because it's very easy if you have a boss who's either new or maybe doesn't care about your personal life as much because maybe they don't have much of a personal life, they'll just bury you, right? And
yeah.
they'll make you work 24/7. I think
It
you and I are both of the ilk where like we wouldn't allow that to happen, but I think a lot of that comes with age and a lot of that comes with understanding that family and things is more important than the job. Job is just what we do to live. It's not why we live.
Yeah, it's actually crazy if you think about how much impact your manager or your boss or the company in
Yeah.
general have on you. Because you can be the greatest, at what you do and all that, and have everything figured out, but you're gonna be in the wrong place, not gonna get appreciated, get abused, get like,
Yeah.
piled on you, and no one cares about your mental health, or they just maybe care but cannot manage you properly, But like right now the people I work with, they do care a lot, and it's like the first ever I've seen a manager as good as, like, I've never seen that before, because they're like, I can get like a really, revved up and you know into it, and Mel is like, calm down, mate, calm down, like,
Yeah.
chill. It's all right, I got it, we got this, it's a team, it's not just you, and all that. And it's really nice. It's yeah, that I think that's why manager is do you remember about, I don't remember how it's called, but there's like this theory, or this law, when people keep progressing to the point when they're to their point of their least competency. You
Hmm.
know what I mean? Like, so someone's a good mechanic. They're gonna take him from, yeah, and he's great at fixing cars. They're gonna take him from fixing cars, and like now you're gonna tell other people how they're gonna
Yes.
and how to. I'm like, no, he's good at fixing cars. Let him fix cars. And that goes
Yeah.
the other way around. Like, your manager is often, well, is they are there to manage, to
Yep.
manage. Not to be an expert at what you do. You're the expert,
Yep.
obviously, and it needs to, you need some kind of expertise to manage people in cyber.
Of
Just
course.
saying that's not the case, but yeah, let managers be the managers, and
Yeah.
let
Let them help
expert.
you. I always say my job is to throw chairs and to keep, to remove roadblocks. That's my job.
Yeah.
Like one of the things that's really interesting about a leader. So Steve Jobs in his autobiography said that when Apple first started, he hired nothing but career managers. and it
Mm.
failed miserably,
Yeah.
miserably, because career managers do not know what it took and what the job takes. So they give crazy deadlines, they give things that are unreachable, and that's how burnout happens. Having a
Yeah.
technical leader, like I'm a leader who never wanted to be a leader. I love technical. I loved all the hands-on. I've done basically every job in cyber because I was like, ooh, what's this new thing? Let me learn architecture. Let me learn engineering. Um, but what I realized is there was a fundamental lack of leadership that knew the job and could
Yeah.
represent us appropriately. So I
Good point.
decided if I can't change the system, I'll become like I'll be in the system to kind of change it from the inside.
Hmm.
If I'm going to affect change, I need to get to the top to be able to do that. Um, and that's where I think a lot of technical people just get tired of these leaders who constantly burn them out. And it sounds like you're an amazing leader, which is fantastic. And we'll definitely talk up your company too. One, I love your name and your your adverts and stuff. They're hilarious. But the other thing is like companies with heart and companies that care about their employees are so few and far between. Like they just don't exist. If you told me
Yeah.
that I would find like a huge family in a place that I love working when I work for a major finance company, I would have told you you're crazy. Like there's no way. I came from Disney, right? I did 20 years in the happiest place on earth. How could I ever find that again? And I found it. And it's rare. And
Yeah.
I think people need to understand that most of the jobs that you're going to get in cyber are going to suck. You're going to have leaders who are really harsh. You're going to have leaders who don't fully understand. They're going to give you a ton of tasks. They're going to make you work crazy hours, and they're not going to care about your work-life balance at all. So asking those questions in advance during an interview are very important. And if somebody answers a question really weirdly, like, oh, work-life balance, well, if we find time, it's like, or if
But
they say, what's that? That's not a place you want to work.
I think that's a very good point to put this, to have that perspective because it comes back to what I said, like it's not always like the money will come or sometimes it's
Mhm.
not even like people always want more, 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 more and focus on figures and statistics and what I get, what do I get, what do I get? But then like you said, there's so many companies out there that don't give a crap about you, don't care at all.
Yeah.
Um, and you're going to be stuck, not even doing your job. You're going to be from one meeting to another, everyone pretending to be busy. You're going to wake up and
Oh
hate your
God.
life. Man, instead, maybe take a different perspective, like what kind of growth opportunities I'm going to have here, what kind of people I'm going to be working
Yeah.
with, culture, like not just like what the benefits I get from the job, what's like the actual culture, what do
Yeah.
people live in, like what's your modus operandi, how do you want to do things, where you
Yeah.
want to go as a company and all that.
People don't quit jobs, man. They quit bosses.
Yeah. Mhm.
Like, period. Right. And I don't think people understand how critical a leader is that understands what the job is and understands kind of what you do. I see you as a future leader who doesn't want to be a leader.
I don't want to
Um,
believe that, honestly,
you're
I don't.
you're 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 very much me, where like you love the technical, you love learning, but at a certain point, you're gonna be like, damn it, I need to lead these people. I need to do things different. And I'll be there to hang out with you to kind of help you through it. Because like I love that this community and it is a community. Like you said, the fact that you can like reach out to people, like, and they'll respond,
Yeah,
is wild. Now you're gonna get ignored a lot. You're not gonna get responses, and that's okay, right? I mean, that's part of the process.
sure.
Getting ignored, um, going through that journey and kind of learning those basics is kind of part of that. I think falling down and failing is what the job is in general.
Yeah, I mean, people for like imagine person who always succeeded. They did nothing but succeed in their life. They're
God, that'd
gonna
be a
lack
boring life.
so much, and they're gonna probably be an asshole.
They're going to be, they're definitely going to be an arrogant prick without a question. I've met those people who've never had real struggle. They're
Yeah,
not people I want to hang out with.
you have to fail to succeed, not only
Yeah,
because it's character, but it opens you to so many different things that you wouldn't be aware of, you know. Failure is necessary for winning. You need to fail first to win,
Yeah.
like Michael Jordan said.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's true, right? Like you don't start off being great. And I
Yeah.
think a lot of the people come out of college with a mindset of, oh, and now I know this, I'm ready to go. And it's like, no, what
Oh,
you learned is literally already 6 months to a year old. Like it
yeah.
is, it's barely valid anymore.
It's
Um,
also funny how it reminds me of this meme, like forget everything you've learned at uni. You won't need it here. But I didn't go to uni. Oh, then you're not qualified for
yes.
it.
Oh, I mean, look, as a poor kid who couldn't afford college, um, in America, we have to actually pay for things. They to get educated, we have to literally pay 40 to $80,000. Like
That's
most people
crazy.
can't afford that. Like I had to choose between eating or going to college, right? So for me, it wasn't really a choice. I had to survive. So I I find the putting people into a box and saying you must have X to be
Mm.
successful to be so just degrading to people who have
Yeah.
a different mindset, a different way of thinking. You and I are the type in school, we probably hated every bit of it, right? Anything that's repetitive or we consider pointless task can
Oh
be
man,
very difficult.
I remember I was being like, I'm not like, for example, I was studying, there was a project, and the project was very simple to write some kind of program, like a memo card or something. I'm like, that's too easy, that's boring. And I made like a whole, add so many features and build it into a game, and then I submit it, and they're like, yeah, that's really cool, that's great what you did, that's incredible, but you didn't do what I asked, so that's 0 points. So like, did you
Yes.
care? Like that's just crazy. That doesn't make any sense to me, you know?
No. There's a quote by that's attributed to Einstein, but has never been actually kind of proven to be his. But it says a fish will spend its whole life feeling it's stupid if it's taught to climb a tree.
Yeah, yeah,
Right? Like it'll be like, oh, I'm dumb. I can't climb a tree. But when you get into your right element, you realize that it's kind of that's the way. I tell people like if you're getting into cyber for the money, it doesn't exist until way later in your career, and even then, it's going to be a struggle. If you're getting into cyber thinking you're going to get a remote job day one, not going to happen. Like it's so few and far between because everybody's doing back to office, everybody's wanting people to kind of go there. What's your one kind of piece of advice that you were given during this whole transition of yours from kind of your run-of-the-mill kind of job that you were working to getting into technology, what's your one piece of advice that you were given that like still resonates with you that you think other people could kind of value from?
Um, well, I think it's like for me, it was just like just go, just hustle, just hustle, just try hard, don't expect anything to be given to you. It's very easy to get into that mentality when for example, you're gonna go on to certain, you're getting a new job, right? And you go into service desk, you're gonna have people who are there like half a year, and they're about to move forward, and you're gonna have people who are there like 10 years, and they probably not gonna go from this role forward. You know
Yep.
what I mean? It's like you either have this mindset or this one, and it's the people like just be ambitious, just go out there, and but don't expect anything to be handed to you just because you spend so much time somewhere or anything. Just learn, do.
Yep.
People forget that, but it's just like you have to keep learning, you have to keep growing. For me, if I'm not growing in a role, I'm already go like not growing in a role, not saying about career progression. If I'm not
Right.
learning new things,
Mentally learning. Yeah, I try to explain that to people. It doesn't matter what your title is.
yeah,
What matters is are you growing as a technician, right?
yes, exactly this, right?
I think that's great. Just keep your foot on the gas
Yeah,
and literally never let up until you reach your goal. It
yeah.
could take a year. For me, it took almost 8 years to get into cyber, almost a decade. And I did a ton of IT work. I did a ton of other stuff. And then I talk to kids now, and they're like, "I've been at this for 6 months. This is ridiculous." And I'm like, I'm like, "You're adorable." Like, the so no, I think that's great advice, man. I truly appreciate you. What is your company kind of? What do you guys do? I'm happy to kind of share that information too and link them because I think any company that treats people like you should be recognized.
Oh, thank you. I do appreciate that. And it's yeah, it's a great bunch of people. It's kind of like a band of misfits, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
And yeah, we do great stuff, and we like kind of bunch of people that was kind of tired of industry, snake
yeah.
oil salesman, all that crap. So the name is That Security Company. Uh,
Awesome.
it's written in leet speak.
I saw it. Yeah, I
It's-
love that completely.
yeah, it's
You can tell a bunch of nerds founded it, which I love.
100%, man. It's a little bit difficult at times because it's, you know, you have to write it down for someone to, so yeah, it's one of those things.
I will definitely link it in the video and I'll link it on LinkedIn. The what I like about that security company is just the fact that like they're treating their people right, right? That's
Yeah,
so rare.
yeah,
And they're giving people shots and opportunities who've not been in technology before, who've not done a lot of those things, and they're seeing talent for talent,
yeah,
regardless of, you know,
100%.
what's on paper. And
Yeah, and it's you can see it actually pays off because like I'm telling you, like the management, the people I work with, the way they treat me and the way like they just like human, you know, they're not like their role, they're actual person.
yeah,
And yeah, and we do SOC, but we also do, you know, pen testing, tabletop exercises, purple teaming, like everything you can think about. So
awesome,
assessments. Yeah, we recently even started working with Polish company. Hope is the first of many. You know, for me,
awesome.
it's home because I'm Polish, so
Yeah,
it's I
yeah.
bring us over there a little bit as well. So, but we'll see. We'll see how that goes. We cool things are happening, and
Well, hell,
um,
man, I wish you nothing but success. I hope you continue paying it forward and trying to find those talents. Definitely check out Raf's stuff on LinkedIn and other socials. I'll link whatever in this post. But man, I appreciate your time, brother. Your insights and stuff I think are so important and so crucial in this field. So thank you so much, man. I appreciate you.
thank you for having me.